Um, Brandy, you said, so Brandy, where are you calling in from?
Redmond.
Hey, yeah. Oh,
Oh,
Or the,
hey,
I'm
Brandon.
asking
My
specifically,
bad.
Gillahan.
that's me. Hey, I'm in the Olympia, Washington, Pacific Northwest, US area.
Your neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said how much promoting is too much? I feel like a pest, but this is all just getting up and running, so I need to promote. Okay, yeah, I'm sure you're not alone in this question. Let me stop sharing. Right, I'm sure you're not alone in this question of, yeah, nobody wants to be a pest or a bother. Uh, there's no easy answer to this. In fact, this is one of the most hotly debated things in marketing. Any marketing coach you ask will give a totally different answer, have a different philosophy on this. So this is just you're asking me, so I'll share my thoughts. I don't think it's a question of how much is too much. There's a lot of stuff about the structure and setup. So let me give a few considerations. One, generally there's like the 1 to 10 ratio or 10 to 1 ratio, meaning for every 10 units of cool, useful content you share, 1 unit of promotion, generally. So you put out 10 social media posts of cool content, one of them can just be a shameless plug. But you can see what happens if you flip that ratio and it's 10 commercials to 1 bit of content, everybody unfollows, as everyone did with cable television.
Mm.
Now everybody's on Netflix and Hulu, and fuck those all the commercials, it's half the program. So that's one. Number two is you can get fancy with your email providers where you can set it up that when you're promoting something specific, this is something we need to do in our own business, and a lot of my colleagues do, and we don't yet, but we will, is you can say in the email, hey, if you're tired of hearing about this particular promotion, you're not interested, just click this button and we'll remove you from this promotion, but they're still on your list. You see, so then you can keep promoting to the people who actually want to hear about it, and the people who don't can stop hearing about it, but they're still on your list. They're not gone forever. They can tune it out. So giving people the option of how much to hear. Third is that sometimes you can just say, look, there's going to be a lot of promo for this period of time, and it will end on this date.
Mm.
So letting people know that this is not a forever thing, and there can be that. And then um, the other thing is to think about, there's a product I've got on my website, I think under live workshop recordings, called The Art of the Slow Launch. I did with Bradley Morris, where we look at how do you actually build a plan for launch. And this is really important because oftentimes it's not just that there's so much promo, but it's that the promo is coming from this very last minute panicked place. Oh my God, it's 3 weeks out, my workshop isn't full, and suddenly there's all this heavy promo. And if you make a plan, sometimes you don't need to sprint quite so much. You can do a bit more of a marathon. You can fill things up over time. Number five is don't underestimate the power of one-on-one outreach. Sometimes I think when we think about promoting, we think, oh, it just all has to be full blast to everybody. But one, you could just send direct messages to people. Say, hey, I've got this thing coming up. I was thinking about you. I think this might be a fit. I don't know, but let me know. You just sit down. I mean, go through your Facebook friends list. Really, go through your texts, go through your emails, go through your Facebook groups you're in, go through your client lists, and just really sit with, could this be a fit for this person or this person or this person? Just keep checking in, and you come up with a list, and then you reach out to those people in whatever way feels appropriate, and that will be dramatically more effective than the full blast to everybody. Um, so there's a number of ways we can spread it out over time, let people know there's going to be a very high intensity window, give people the opportunity to opt out of the promotion. So those are some ideas, but how does that land? Any questions or thoughts?
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And a lot of what you said earlier is clarifying things for me. I think part of my struggle is my other not my own business, but in my other career, I'm a therapist. And a lot of the therapy work I do is in being quiet and not taking up space. And the idea of churning out content, even if it's useful, like my social media is, it's quiet or it's more image based. And so the sense that like I only show up to promote, but I also don't, I, I want to guide people to feeling their own experience and tuning into themselves. I'm not going to be giving useful stuff. It's not as transactional as that. I'm trying to open a space. And so I think there's this mental block I have around content production anyway, that I think is making promoting Phil even more counterintuitive. And I feel like I need to get through that block.
What do you think is the block around the putting out content? Like, so is it that you feel like it's just creating more noise and
Yeah. Also, a lot of the work, even in the side project I'm doing, is about helping folks slow down and tune in to what's going on inside of them. And like, yeah, blocking out the noise and being able to notice something internal rather than these kind of external messages that are being posed.
okay.
And so I've been struggling with figuring out how to do that without enacting the very thing I'm trying to not do.
Yeah, well, okay, but so this is important. So for everyone, here's a quick little exercise. Just everyone by yourself, I want you to write down, and Brandy, let's try this with you too. I want you to write down just for yourself, everyone try this. What are all the words you never want anyone to say about your marketing? Like if you were at a party and you overheard somebody's talking about your marketing, they say, "Oh my God, Tad's marketing is so da, da, da." You know, and you're just like, "Oh God, I have to leave the party and just not talk to anyone for a week." Like just what's the worst thing they could say about your marketing? It's like, "Oh, Tad's marketing, he's just like those marketers online, you know, they're so but." Oh no, so fake, so insincere, so desperate, so um loud, so obnoxious, so pushy, so manipulative, so coercive, so whatever it is. So just get any of the words down you can think of, the ones that would really hurt. Like, what's the worst thing you could say about somebody's marketing? You just wanted to stick the knife in and make sure they feel it. Okay. Hopefully you got a bunch of pain there. So now I'm going to invite you to circle the top three. What are the worst? Okay, out of all those words, what would be the three worst ones? Okay, so Brandy, if you'd be willing to share.
Yeah. I have noisy, too much, and unhelpful.
Right. So here's the challenge is, if you try to drive a car by looking at all the things you don't want to hit, that makes it more dangerous. Yeah, you're more likely to hit something. And if you stare at the thing you don't want to hit, you just, you know how it is, you just turn into it naturally. This is what happens in our marketing. For most people, first of all, there's just a general feeling of marketing is terrible and I don't want it to feel bad and we're averse to it. But then if we get more specific with it, okay, I don't want it to be these three things. That is, the awareness is helpful, but it's not helpful as a name. So now everyone look at those three words. I want you to come up with the opposite for each word. Okay, instead of this, I want it to feel that. Instead of A, I want it to be Z. Instead of B, I want it to be Y. Instead of C, I want it to be X. So what do you want it to feel like? What are those three words you're aiming at? That every email you send out, every social media post you do, every reel you make, you really want it to embody what are the three qualities that you most want? Because these three words, as simple as this quick little exercise is, that's your compass for your marketing. For any piece of marketing you ever do, it has to be aligned with these three. So what did you come up with, Brandy?
I got spacious, helpful, and guidepost.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So then the major homework is that How do I make sure that everything I do is this? Instead of, I don't want it to be that, I want it to be
Mm.
this. And you may find that just shifts it and you come up with ideas that weren't there before. Because it's hard to come up with ideas from the negative. God, how do I make sure my marketing isn't manipulative? Well, the center of your attention is manipulation. But if you say, how do I make marketing that's really respectful? It's the difference between the orientation in life of being fearful versus careful. Yeah, full of fear versus full of care. You can walk into a situation fearful. What are they going to say? What will I say back? Oh my God, what's the worst that could happen? Or you can walk in just saying, I just want to bring care to everybody here, including myself. I'm just bringing the love right now. And it will orient you completely differently to the situation. So there's a couple of resources. Okay, so there's that. But one distinction I want to lift up for everybody is the distinction between content and context. People content is interesting. Content, that's all the discrete little separate pieces that you share. All my reels, all my YouTube videos, my articles, these are all just content, meaning it's not the full picture, but it's a piece of the puzzle. And especially in the beginning, when people are learning about us, the thing they're craving their life, and to hear from us is context, not content. They really want to know the big picture. What's your overall take on this issue? And the more that we can share that context, the better. Challenge is you can't share a lot of context in a 90-second reel. Yeah. So I've had this idea, and one day I'll come up with a presentation on this formally, but the idea of doing a starter kit. And a starter kit would be that, so you can see it on my website if you haven't already checked it out. I've got an ethical marketing starter kit, tons of content there. But just, it can be very simple. An hour-long video, hour and a half video, where you share, look, if you're on island B, hey, you want to be on island B, here's my big picture take. Here's my sort of whole cosmology on the thing. These are the core premises, the foundational ideas, the big map, all the elements that I think are most important. It's not to solve it, but it's to give them a sense of context of, why am I so fucked up? Why is this so hard? What am I missing? What are my blind spots? That you help them see that. So that's number one, is to think about creating that, because the point of social media, the point of any of our content, is ultimately to build our email list. To me, would be to drive somebody to something like a starter kit or a signature workshop, from which they could get a sense of if we're a fit or not, and whether they want to keep following us or not. Either way is fine. The other is, there's a colleague of mine, Danny Gardner, who wrote a book called Quiet Marketing, and so I'll put these as a reply to your post there. But DannyGardner.com, DANIGARDNER. And I think you would really like her work based on what you're aiming at vibe wise in your marketing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.